Welcome to our first veteran build, guys, everybody. Today we're going to be going over what I think is the most overpowered veteran build currently in the game. I mean, there's a lot of really strong veteran builds, but this one in particular, for me, is just an absolute power trip and just makes the game feel like I'm playing on easy mode all the time. So without further ado, we're going to get into the weapons and the curios, and then the talent tree. I'm going to have them timestamped in the video scroll timeline below, and you can click through those. And I'm also going to link in maybe a shorter build guide right here that you can link, watch, or some gameplay as well. Those will also be available down in the comments below or in the description down below. So without further ado, we will be getting into the power sword and the infantry autogun. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions are extremely appreciated, especially since this is a very young channel, everybody. So our weapon of choice for melee is going to be the Mark 6 Munitorium Power Sword is what we want. And the cleave targets on this, I've found, doesn't really matter because when you're using the actual charged up power attack on the Munitorium Power Sword, you have infinite cleave up to 7 enemies, basically, I think is what the number was. It got nerfed a bunch of times since launch, but when you're using your powered up attack, your charged special attack with a power sword, your cleave targets actually does not really matter, at least it seems to me. So what you really want to have is damage and cleave damage. Your cleave damage is going to affect how much damage you actually do while cleaving instead of just your first target. So you want to have high cleave damage and high damage. Mobility and finesse, also great to have. Finesse, not as important as damage and cleave damage, so your top two here are definitely cleave damage and damage. Then we get down into the perky boys. So we want flak armored enemy damage because we want to be able to take out flak armored enemies a little bit better. I personally have gone for weak spot damage because this power sword is great at hitting weak spots, and we don't worry about hitting one-shotting unarmored enemies with weak spot shots. They're already pretty easy to one-shot with a weak spot. And then we have flak armored plus weak spot damage. That makes pretty much most flak armored enemies pretty easy to one-shot or very quickly two-shot while meleeing. Instead of weak spot damage, you could also go for maniac damage, would not be bad on the power sword. In this particular case, however, I go for weak spot damage, and I'll show you why we don't use the power sword particularly for dealing with maniacs, because our primary autogun is fantastic at taking care of maniacs. So I don't think the maniac damage on the power sword is necessarily important. Then we get down to the blessings. Slaughter, fantastic, probably one of the best blessings you can have on here. Any blessing that stacks power on hit or kill is fantastic for this sword. I take Slaughter. I have Slaughter 3. It does just fine. I think you get Slaughter 4. That does like 8 or 9, maybe 10% power on kill. The more the merrier. Take whatever you get. You know, I might actually... I don't know. I haven't needed to re-roll it. This sword is plenty powerful, and I'll show you guys in the Psykhanium in just a little bit as well. And then, of course, the Holy Grail, you need Power Cycler 4, which gives you 2 extra chained energized hits. When Power Sword came out, you could hit approximately like 7 swings or something without even having Power Cycler or something like that, something ridiculous. And as the game went on, they nerfed it over and over and over again. And now it's down to, without Power Cycler, I think you can have 1 swing. There's a Power Cycler 3, which can give you 1 extra swing, so you get 2 powered swings. And now there's Power Cycler 4, which gives you 2 extra swings. So that's 3 total energized swings. And that is absolutely crucial when it comes to taking down Crushers, as I'll show you in a minute, is you have to pretty much have Power Cycler 2, or Power Cycler 4 with this 2 extra charges. Now, we will get into our Autogun, the actual best part about this build that makes it really fun. Because, you know, honestly, this power sword, you run it on pretty much every veteran because it's so easy to use, and it's probably his best, if not one of his best melee weapons. Then we have the Columnus Mark 5 infantry autogun, and this thing is the absolute bullet hose. It mows down enemies like nothing else in this game, and it's so fun. Now, you don't want the braced autogun version. You want the normal infantry autogun version. Braced autogun might be good for like the Zealot or something. I don't know. I haven't looked at that. But you want the best Columnus Mark 5 infantry autogun you can possibly get. And what is really important on this gun is damage, ammo, and stopping power. Stopping power affects your armor penetration, so having a really good stopping power actually is very important, even though, you know, stopping power doesn't sound like a very descriptive term, but it's actually very important. So your most important two, I would say, are damage and stopping power, then ammo. And that's because this build absolutely sucks ammo dry like a mother trucker. So you definitely want to have a high ammo roll, but we are rolling into our talent tree to mitigate the ammo problem. So if you don't get perfect ammo, not a big deal. Stability, this gun actually kicks like a mule as well. So maybe if you're having a harder time with the stability, you might want some more stability for you. I'd say anything over 65% on stability is probably fine. It's just a little bit of a getting used to the recoil. You definitely want you hit a lot of weak spots for this build. You're aiming for weak spots, but I honestly find in my experience, stability, it kicks a lot. So you're just going to have to get used to it. And then mobility is fantastic, so you can dodge around a little bit more, whatever, with the gun, yeah. Dodging attacks is important in this game. Mobility helps you with that while the gun's equipped. Fantastic. And also, this gun has a light, so it's actually kind of nice to have on blackout missions or something. Yeah. Then we get down into the perks. I'm taking Flak and Maniac damage because those are the two enemies that I also want to dispatch really quickly, so that makes this build extremely effective at taking out Flak armored enemies, Maniac enemies, and just add unarmored enemies really quickly, really easily, and that pretty much clears out almost all the enemy types in the game. Then all that's left really are, there's infested enemies, but this chews through those as well. And then what the larger enemies that you have would be the bulwarks, the crushers, and the Ogre Gunner guy. And let me tell you what, this gun, for the Ogre Gunner, you just shoot him right in the head. He'll die in half a mag. Easy. The Bulwark, you throw a crack grenade at him, then you shoot him. The Crusher, you throw a crack grenade at him, or you go at him with the Power Sword. It's honestly fantastically easy to take care of. Then we'll get down into the blessings. So we have Fire Frenzy and Dum Dum are the two that I take. Now there are other blessings that are definitely absolutely viable on this build. Fire Frenzy is close range, 9% close range damage for 3.5 seconds after killing an enemy at close range, stacks 5 times. So the problem I have with Fire Frenzy is that it's on kill for only 3.5 seconds, and obviously I think there's a Fire Frenzy 4 that does like 10% damage or something, so better. Always get the higher level blessing if you can, but 3 will do just fine. 2 maybe a little low, maybe want to grind out for 3 at least, but 9% close range damage for 3.5 seconds on kill. When you reload, a reload takes like 1 to 2 seconds, right? So you're going to have to be quick to get back into your kills, and then you have to kill something after reloading. So that altogether probably takes 3 or 4 seconds. So this is an easy stack to lose, so I think Fire Frenzy could go for something else. I think Raking Fire is a underrated blessing that people overlook, specifically because it'll make this weapon fantastic at taking on monstrosities. Shooting monstrosities in the back is really easy to do if they're attacking like your enemy, your teammates or something. You can just get behind them and lay into them, like especially like the Beast of Nurgle. You can lay right into his weak spot from behind, super easy. The back shots are fantastic, and also mutants that are charging at you, super easy to get behind them. You just dodge, they run by you, and now all of a sudden you got a 40% damage bonus on top of if you're running like a perk that gives 25% damage, so that's like 65% damage to mutants or something. You'll absolutely chew through them. Super great. Now, Dum Dum is a fantastic blessing for this one as well, plus 6% close range damage on repeated hit. I really like this one. It stacks 5 times. All you have to do is shoot like 5 or 6 bullets, and you've all of a sudden stacked 30% damage, close range damage. And the close range damage on this is a lot farther than you'd think it would. It's probably like out to like 8 to 10 meters counts as close range or something like that. I don't know for sure, but it's a very forgiving close range damage. Like you can be a fair distance away from your enemies and actually use it. And then we get to our Curios. I'm currently running, let's see what I'm running. I don't really have perfect Curios on this build. I'm running a stamina, max health, and a wound. Honestly, I think you could totally get away with running this as a toughness curio instead of a wound. I think you would do just fine, especially once we get to the talent tree. You'll see this veteran's pretty sustainable. The stamina is fantastic because you're in melee combat, you need more stamina, and then health, for obvious reasons you want health. Now, my perks are not looking great on my Curios here, but what I would recommend is, of course, damage resistance to gunners is probably the only damage resistance worth taking in the game. I have sprint efficiency on here, that's kind of cool, not necessary. Probably go for plus health, plus toughness, block efficiency, and maybe revive speed or something like that if you find that you end up reviving your teammates a lot. For me, I don't take revive speed because I'm usually the first one to die. you know, revive speed, I was always like, Oh, you know what? I'm just kind of terrible, so I don't need revive speed. I should use something else that makes me not die. So, then we get to the talent tree. Now, the veteran talent tree is very large and extensive, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. And in fact, in this talent tree, you don't even have to necessarily get all the way down to these keystones. There's definitely ways to run this build with a lot of this. I mean, look how many nodes there are. There's absolutely so many things that you could pick for this build. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've picked for this build, and it works fantastic for me. So we're not taking long shot or going over here to volley adept or exhilarating takedown. These are fine, but I find that they're not fantastic. Now this one is cool. Replenish 15% toughness and gain 10% toughness damage reduction for 8 seconds on range weak spot kill. Stacks 3 times. You get a lot of range weak spot kills with this build, so that could be something that could be good. That could justify you coming over to this path. But for me personally, let's see, what's over here on the right? Yeah, no, none of this tactical reload. The weapon reloads plenty fast. You don't need tactical reload or anything like that. So going down the middle path, we have 33 toughness damage reduction to more allies and hit coherency. That's helpful. We have 50% aura radius. That could be good for keeping up this 33% toughness damage reduction. That would be good. I personally have decided not to go with that one. And really the reason that we're coming through this path anyways is to get this toughness on elite or specialist kill, and a further 20 toughness over 10 seconds. So that's 30% toughness on an elite or specialist kill. That's making you pretty tanky. Then we get +1 stamina. That's nice. I think if you really wanted to, you could come through this path over here instead if you found that, you know, exhilarating takedown. Long shot, the problem is we're up close with this build, so I feel like long shot's kind of wasted. Anyways, continuing on, we get a 15% toughness here. In my opinion, the Shredder frag grenades are just bad, honestly. Now, they're alright at clearing out a little horde, but the thing is with our build that we're running right now, we have fantastic horde clear between our power sword and our autogun. Really not a problem at all. And then the smoke grenades, I don't even really have a lot of experience using the smoke grenades. What I do know is that when you use the smoke grenades, you can't see anything, and it's just as bad as for you as it is for the guys that you're trying to kill. So I just don't personally like the smoke grenade. And then we have the crack grenade, which just auto kills anything, any carapace armored enemies and bulwarks and whatnot. So I mean, it's not that the other two grenades are absolutely terrible, but in comparison to the crack grenade is so much easier to get a ton of value out of. Now I've seen people try and use the smoke grenades. If you're using a build that outlines, say, ranged enemies or something, fantastic. We're not doing that. So, crack grenade, absolutely great for taking out armored enemies, and really adds the super well-roundedness to this build where you have an option for anything. Additionally, crack grenades, if your teammates like get swallowed by like a beast of Nurgle or something, crack grenade will proc them out. You throw a crack grenade on them, it'll stagger them, it'll spit out the guy. At least I'm pretty sure. Or it'll at least just stagger most monstrosities with the crack grenades, which is really nice to have. Now, this is a tree over here that I really wanted to get to, and we'll get to that in a second. So we get another 5% health. Fantastic. Covering fire. When killing an enemy with a ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15 toughness and receive 10% base damage for 3 seconds. That's a fantastic just toughness boost to your teammates and base damage boost to your teammates as well. Now, it's only for 3 seconds, so I could see you maybe taking this perk off and putting this value somewhere else, but I personally really like this one. And then I went through the skill tree and tried to shave off 2 points. Now, the points are kind of tight on this build. 2 points to try and get myself over to this part of the tree over here, because I found that I needed just a little bit more melee damage to be able to one cycle Carapace Crushers with my energy sword. So, we came to this plus 10% melee damage, which is what I really wanted. And then we also have this agile engagement, plus 25% damage to your other weapon for 5 seconds on killing enemy. That is a huge, humongous damage boost just for switching weapons and killing people. And we're running energy sword, autogun, super easy to switch out between these two and get really fast, good kills. So you can switch out, get the kill, switch out, get the kill. Super easy to do. And then we come over to our aura. So this is the most important part of this build. You know, there are other auras. 5% damage for you and your allies and coherency. 5% movement speed for you and your allies and coherency. To be honest, both of these are pitiful in regards to the value that I think that Survivalist gives you. Now, you'll say, oh, Survivalist, replenish 1% ammo for you and your allies in coherency. This is absolutely fantastic, because what happens is when your teammates run out of ammo, it doesn't matter that you're giving them 5% more damage because they're out of ammo. And what is it? Movement speed? Seriously? No. So we want this 5% ammo boost, or 1% ammo. I found when I'm playing Gunpsyker or another, or like Veteran or Zealot with a gun, and you're running a build that would typically run out of ammo, I've found in games where I have a survivalist veteran that's actually doing his job well, I'm like, why am I always at max ammo? Like, I need to use my gun even more, and I feel like I'm using it a ton, because usually you just run out of ammo and you'd be sucking up all the ammo on the map. You're at like max ammo all the time with this survivalist aura. It's fantastic for your teammates, and you know, maybe it's not the best for you. Maybe you don't notice it the most, but it does give you this ammo back, and this build absolutely sucks ammo, so you're going to notice it on this build, but maybe on other builds you don't notice it. This is absolutely the best one to take for that. Okay, so anyways, we had the 5% health boost, 5% range damage, super cool, thanks. Catch a breath, replenish 5% toughness when there are no enemies within 8 meters. What's this other one? Stun immunity, slow immunity for 6 seconds, and restore 50% stamina. This is only when, oh, this is when toughness is broken, not when stamina is depleted. You know, you could probably go for either one of these. I'm personally taking the catch a breath. Either one of those are probably fine. You get 5% reload speed, that's cool. I had Killzone on here, but I took Killzone off to try and get over to this 10% melee damage and agile engagement. I think this is not a bad way to go for Killzone. Then the opening salvo, nah, I'd skip that one. We don't really rely on crits on this build. We just rely on absolute ridiculous damage output. I don't think there's anything over here to the right that's particularly good to get. Grenadier is nice. If you feel like you need more crack grenades, I really don't think it's necessary. Leave no one behind. It's cool, but you know, it's not. It's out of the way, and we're already strapped for points. So we're gonna keep moving through the tree. We have 5% toughness damage reduction. Ammo crates also restore grenades. That's cool if you really want it. Twin blast, not really useful for crack grenades. If you were running something like the shredder grenades, or maybe the smoke grenades, the shredder grenades really, the twin blast would be actually kind of neat. Still, 20% chance, you only have 3 grenades. The chances are this isn't a game you're going to activate if you throw all 3 of your grenades. So, meh. And then this one's just replenish a grenade every 60 seconds. So again, we're in this situation where this one is just fantastic compared to the other ones. Because when you have a crack grenade, you know, you don't have to use them that often. You have 2 or 3 stacked up. You throw 1 or 2. And then 60 seconds later, you have another one. And maybe you throw them like 20 seconds apart. So you have like every 20 seconds, you have a crack grenade up, essentially, right? For your first 3 or 4 crack grenades. So really good. Then we have our by far best ability of the tree. So we have Infiltrate over here, which is, or well, the best one's Voice of Command. But Infiltrate over here, enter Stealth for 8 seconds, movement speed. Now, there's definitely things you can do with this on the Veteran tree that are probably really good and really fun and unique to play. For us, though, basically useless, and as far as I'm aware, as far as I can think for this build. And then our other one is Executioner's Stance. This is more of a when in range stance, you instantly equip your ranged weapon. Oh, this is when you use your F, and you get, yeah, it doesn't last very long, and it's kind of inconsistent. It's also not that great in the situational, and we're not running a fantastic weapon for getting. Just stick to Voice of Command. Trust me. Okay. So Voice of Command is fantastic because it gets you out of tough situations. You find yourself in a bad situation. It's a very forgiving ability. It gets you just basically a get out of jail free card. You get a pox burster that shows up on you. Voice of Command knocks him back, gives you the toughness you need. You get instantly sniped at or something that you didn't notice was coming. Voice of Command, you'll take barely any damage, if any at all. And we take this Duty of Honor, gives you a little more toughness. And on top of this, this does it for your entire teammates around you. I wouldn't recommend the Only in Death because it increases your ability cooldown, which sucks, and having this ability up is really nice. A lot. And in addition to this, I've found that if you really need to get a res off, you know, throw a crack grenade at your feet and then pop Voice of Command. Or just really just pop. I've never thrown the crack grenade. I just run up to my teammate and pop Voice of Command, and it'll stagger everybody for a second and give you a lot of toughness. You should have plenty of time to rip the res easily without this ability. Especially if you put some revive speed on your Curios. no need to take Only in Death. Absolutely take Duty of Honor instead, because you don't even get a cooldown increase on your ability, and you get more toughness. So that's kind of a no-brainer to me. The toughness is super nice to have. Then we get down to the build. 25 suppression dealt. That's fine, I suppose. Now, there is lots of things over in this skill tree that you could take for this build that I think would actually be really useful for going into melee. It's a 15% close damage on for 10 seconds on combat ability use. That's really nice. You know, I'd have to say that we just do an incredible amount of damage already. Melee attack speed would be really nice. Melee crit hits. This whole tree on the right side is full of stuff that you could go for. And what I would do for that is to probably skimp on... But these are really good too. There's just so many good things in the veteran tree that you want. All I'm saying is that if you wanted to come over here and get some stuff and skimp somewhere else in the tree, you could probably do that, and it would probably be worthwhile. In fact, there's probably even a better build in here hidden somewhere that I don't have selected. Anyways, continuing through this, we'll go through this. Well, we'll go through the secondary tree first. So we get our 25 suppression dealt, and the reason we're coming over here is we get 5% range damage. That's nice. This one to the right is 5% melee damage. We are a veteran, so we are going to focus on range damage. And we get 30% weak spot damage. Like I said, for this build, you want to go for weak spots because you will absolutely annihilate people, and it utterly, very much helps increase your ammo efficiency going for weak spot shots. And on top of this, instead of taking like maniac damage, you could go for 10% weak spot damage if you wanted to. That would be kind of cool. But I think the maniac damage is the best place to put the autogun. And maniac and flak, I think that's the best too. But you could definitely go for something like weak spot damage. I'm a sucker for weak spot damage. Fully loaded. This is why we came over here. That's right. 25% more ammo. Fantastic. Maybe I won't run out this time when I'm playing the class that uses bullets. Okay. And then shock trooper, we don't need crit hits. 15% base damage to elite enemies. Thank you. Super great. Super damage boost. Maybe you don't struggle with elite enemies. Maybe you're using those crack grenades. You can put this point somewhere else. And then marksman. On ability use for 10 seconds, any weak spot hits gain 20% power. Now that is pretty cool. That's also pretty powerful. I think maybe both of these you want to put them somewhere else. There's also really good things somewhere else in the build. I personally like this. 20% power is a lot. That's going to be penetrating power or stopping power. That's going to be damage. That's going to be overall just 20% power boost. I'm not sure entirely how power factors into everything, but 20% power is fantastic. Then we get to our ability modifier over here. We have, while your combat ability gives you and allies and coherency plus 10% base melee damage and plus 10% base range damage for 5 seconds. So if I'm not mistaken, we get plus 20, we get 10% weak spot damage, or weak spot power from marksman. And we also get 10% weak damage for the Emperor. So altogether, there's some weird addition in there for weak spots and body, but altogether, you're getting a ton of damage bonus in short for hitting weak spots and just hitting shots in general when using your F ability, which in general, when you're using your F ability, you're probably in a pinch because you're giving everybody extra toughness, and then you're going to give more power and damage to people. Fantastic. It's going to get you out of bad situations. Ranged attack suppression, meh. Allies and coherency gain 15% toughness of the... replenish 15% toughness that you replenish. That sounds actually pretty cool. I didn't even know that was one when I never read it, but honestly, I don't think it's that useful, especially since we have voice command. You don't have to carry your teammates that hard. We're already carrying our teammates a lot and giving a lot of support with this build. I don't think you have to carry them that hard. Then we have tactical awareness. Combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. You're a veteran. You're killing a lot of specialists, especially with this build. If you're hitting weak spots, you're chewing through them. Fantastic. You're going to have your voice command up even more, which gives you this for the Emperor and Marksman up even more. Fantastic. You can train those into each other. Great. You have 5% chance to replenish a grenade when you or an ally in coherency kills an elite or specialist enemy. 5% is a little low. And we already have like a new grenade every 60 seconds. So, maybe you take the new grenade off every 6 seconds. Go with this. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I definitely don't think so. And then 10% toughness replenishment for you and your allies and coherency. That's a nice boost to your teammates if you wanted to. But this is fantastic. Iron Will, 50% reduced toughness damage if toughness is above 75%. Fantastic. Especially, you know, we're using Voice of Command, and I'm not sure how these play into each other, but Voice of Command gives you toughness overcharge. So if you are at 75% of that total toughness when you use Voice of Command, are you still taking 50% toughness damage reduction? So let's say you have Voice of Command, you have like 100 toughness, and you use Voice of Command, you get up to 200 toughness. This isn't the right numbers, but I'm just spitballing here. And so you get down to 150 toughness, which would be 75% of 200. Are you still taking... Are you going to take 50% toughness damage reduction all the way down until you only have 75 toughness left, or until you have 150 toughness left? That's something that I would like to know. Be really hard to test. I don't have that much time. Sorry, guys. And then we have plus 25 toughness. Super great. More toughness for the vet. That's nice. And what we're really coming here for is the 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. Is it Ogryns or Ogryn, guys? Is it Ogryns or Ogryns? I'd really like to know. So 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities, that's fantastic. You're going to absolutely dump into dudes, and if you're taking Raking Fire, you can do 20% damage to the monstrosities. Plus, you're shooting in the back for like 40% more damage. You got 60% damage boost to monstrosities. This thing already does great damage to monstrosities, so if you're running that, and then you could run unyielding damage as well. So that's almost like a 100% damage boost to monstrosities if you wanted to. There's all kinds of unyielding enemies. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with that, just to absolutely damage cannon. And yeah, anyways. And then we have Rending Strikes, gives 10% rending to all weapons. I don't think it's that useful. I tried it and I didn't notice it that much. I think it wasn't that great. We have 2.5% chance of 20% base damage, 20% melee impact, and 20% suppression for 8 seconds whenever an ally kills an enemy. I mean, that's fantastic. It's any enemy. It's not like it's just specialist enemies or elite enemies or something. It's any enemies at all. So you have a horde of 100 guys coming at you. You've basically got a guaranteed chance that this is going to activate. This ability's up a lot. Alright, I had to make a post later cut because I realized I did not know what I was talking about on the focus target, thanks to some comments in our live stream. So, on focus target, every 2 seconds, it stacks up to 5 times. You get a focus target. So when you ping an enemy, all those focus target stacks apply onto that enemy. And what happens then is they take that extra damage. So if you have 5 stacks stacked up, let's say you're just playing the game for 10 seconds, you have 5 stacks, you tag a high value target enemy or whatever, and they take 20% additional damage. And if you take something like Focused Fire, you can stack up to 8. So 8 times, you get 4 times 8, 8, 16, 24, 32. Did I do that right? 32% more damage. If you're using 8 stacks and you have them at max stacks, then you also have these abilities that, depending on how many stacks you've saved up between a ping or not, you get those additional bonuses. So those are really strong to have. I don't have them selected on the build right now. I took off Redirect Fire and a few other things just to get over to this 10% melee damage and Agile Engagement, which I think are both really strong. Honestly, over here on the left side, you could probably get away without running the 25% ammo, the Superiority Complex, and Marksman. I really like those, though. They're very powerful, but maybe you could argue that these abilities would be up more than these abilities. You could probably get away without running the 25% ammo. You probably don't need it. You're a veteran, and we have this ability here that's regenerating ammo, so I think we're pretty good on ammo, to be honest. I haven't had any problems running out of ammo on the build. So you could go for one of these if you would like instead. So yeah, that is focus target. These other 2 weapon specialists, in fact, you could not take either of these and then go down this weapon specialist path as well. So it's really up to you. But for really fast damage output against high value targets, which is really what helps round out this build, is to take this focus target and then pick your favorite ones here and maybe take off some points, take off, you know, covering fire, and take these target down focused fire or redirect fire. My favorite probably be redirect fire and then focused fire and then target down. So, but honestly, if you run all 3 of those, really strong. So yeah, now on to the next part. And now I will show you why this build is absolutely ridiculous in the Psykhanium. So, starting off, and don't forget, if you guys are watching, please like and subscribe. It means a whole lot. The channel is growing, and I hope this video does well. I mean, this is honestly the most busted veteran build there is. So, Here is our Crusher. First of all, you can give him the Crusher grenade. This thing's like made for Crusher. You can just annihilate a Crusher with that. It locks onto him. Fantastic. If you've never seen these before, you just take it over here. Boom. Locked right onto him. I think we got a weak spot hit on that one. Utterly annihilates him. Anyways, that's not even the point that I'm trying to make here, because, you know, crack grenades are nice, but you can run out of them. You only have 2, and you have to wait 60 seconds to get another one back. We're already halfway to getting one back, but you give the little power sword here a little charge. You can one-cycle a Crusher with the power sword. Honestly, the Zealot has a hard time dispatching Crushers this fast. I mean, if he has a Thunder Hammer, he can do it, but then he's locked into a hit stun. We're just ready to go after we do this. You know, that is... So this is the push attack. So if you're playing on M and Key, it took me a long time to figure out how to do this because I, you know, didn't bother looking it up. But you block and you push and you hold down the push button. So you're left clicking to push and you just don't let go. So you don't spam, or you'll just spam push. You'll block, push, and just hold it down, and then an automatic attack will come down if you hold it long enough. So you charge and just go for 2 melee attacks. I mean, goodness gracious. You're just beheading these guys. Now you have to go for weak spot hits. If you're not going for weak spot hits, it's gonna take you another cycle to take them out. As you can see, that was not as effective, and you'd have to deal with an entire Crusher, 2 or 3 of them in front of you at that moment. But you just whip this out and dodge away, and boom, you've killed a Crusher. It's really that simple. Bulwarks are a little annoying, but you know what? They're just bulwarks. Not like they do that much damage. So you can stagger. You can either throw a crack grenade at them, or you can get behind them with your teammates or something. Wait for somebody to stagger. You know, you get staggered in the back. Maybe this build struggles a little bit with bulwarks. I'm honestly never noticed because bulwarks are not that hard to deal with in the first place. They're usually in large packs. You throw a crack grenade on them, you'll stagger the whole pack, and yeah, not a big deal. So here's something fun. You can give this guy a tag. He's gone. That's why we're not taking unyielding damage. I mean, you die 25% faster. That'd be ridiculous. I mean, look at that. That's ridiculous. And it's not that hard. I mean, I have good stability on this. Back up some more. I mean, yeah, it kicks a little bit. It's absolutely manageable. And also, the hip fire on this is fantastic as well. So let's come over here. He's dead. He's dead. Killed like 4 guys in a row there. You know, maybe the mutants are a little bit of a problem, but you know what you can do to those mutants? You can tag them, and you can dodge them. Maybe kill this maniac over here, then come back to the mutant. He's gone. Additionally, if you're running Raking Fire or something, a mutant runs by you, you dodge out of the way. You'll do an extra 40% damage to the back right there. That would be a fantastic way to go. Maniac, done. I know, I'll show you guys body shots as well. Just look how many guys we can kill with 1 magazine on this build. Additionally, we're still at max ammo, basically. And, you know, these guys are usually a lot more grouped up. If you find you're getting overran by these hordes a lot, you could run Suppressing Fire or whatever it is, one of the blessings, that Terrifying Barrage that suppresses the guys. I think that would be a waste of damage potential. I mean, I'm killing these guys so fast, it's hard to tell. And, you know, I'm just hip-firing right now. I mean, you one-shot these guys to the head. Is that not insane? With this gun? So, you know, you're running this autogun, and you've got a ton of ammo, and you're like, oh, I gotta spray him down. Incredibly inefficient use of the ammo, to be honest. But you can afford to since we're a vet. But if you're hitting headshots on these guys, you might not even have to worry about that. If you got some damage bonuses up, you can actually shoot through them. Honestly, though, usually they're in a much denser horde than this as well, so it's a lot easier than me. You just mow those guys down. Absolutely easy. Yeah, super easy. Then we get to these guys. See ya. This is why we're running the flak armor. It makes these guys just a little bit faster to take out. We don't need unarmored damage because we do a ton of unarmored damage with an autogun. I mean, just look at the damage output on this. It's absolutely insane. And you know, we're going for weak spot hit spots right now. So the Scab Mauler, that's what this guy's called. I'm slowly remembering the names. You know, he is a carapace armored target to the head, but look at that. His chest is flak armored. So just dump him in the chest. He's out of there. You know, this is with hip fire, you know, shots as well. Just go for headshots. I mean, look at that. You know, maybe he takes a little second longer to kill. It's fine. Not a big deal. You already do so much damage that you can just mow through everything in the game. You know, I'm not even pinging enemies right now, so you'll ping these guys. You'll get some damage bonuses. Let's say I ping him, being a little bit problematic. I kill some other guys, come back to him after he gets, you know, a little bit more stacks of whatever. You know, just look at the damage potential on this build, guys. And then, of course, you have the energy sword. We can come back to this. Okay, he's dead. You know, we back out to this. We're getting huge damage bonuses from using both of our weapons. You know, was he full health? Hold on. Alright, so we'll kill him. Alright, I want to try that again. I don't know. I was missing the weak spot shots. I'm going to try and get the weak spot shots. Yeah, one shot head. That's absurd. The absolute damage output of this build is so insane that when you're playing missions and you can't one-shot mutants with this build with your poke. Oh, maybe you can. I thought you couldn't. You know, I must have a couple damage boosts going on right now. The weak spot's kind of hard to hit on this anyways, but like I said, I would just use this bad boy. You know, I typically recommend, especially the most important guys to ping are probably mutants, the ragers, and the maulers. These guys are important to ping. I mean, really anybody that you can ping is important to ping, but you know, you're pinging guys, you're gonna have an absolutely fine time. Oops, didn't mean to get that one. Just absolutely absurd amount of damage coming out of the veteran with this build. So, and then of course you can commanding shout. We get more weak spot damage for a little short amount of time. Wow. I'd forgotten about that. I forget about that. So you're popping. We've already got commanding shout back up again, by the way, because we were spamming into. Oh wow. We can spam it into these specialist enemies over here, and you get commanding shout back. Huh. Wow, that's fast. I mean, there usually won't be this many specials or elites or whatever that's giving us this cooldown on screen, but you can absolutely just get a ridiculous amount of damage. I mean, shoot. Okay, that doesn't work. Don't go for him with that. That doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. But now, if you were taking that, you know, up to 20% power based on, or damage or whatever it is at the top of the skill tree based on range, if you're at this range, you're getting a decent damage from that as well. So it's definitely not useless. And let's check our ammo. You know, we've gone halfway through our ammo. And you know, these hordes, if you don't want to put your ammo on them, you'll just whip out the sauce sword and chaff them out. Super easy to do. And you know, you can just come out here with the sword, go for heavies. We've got flak armor damage on it. You'll find that once you get this sword charged up on hits and kills, the cleave on it's actually already fairly good, and I don't even have a particularly great cleave roll on this sword. So you can just keep swinging at these hordes, and you really don't even have to worry about charging up. Of course, if the horde's getting really big overrunning you, of course you give them a. You don't even really need to give them the heavy swing. You just charge it up, and you go for the swings. Now, this power sword I think is better than the other power sword, just for its light attack chain. The other one has a better heavy attack chain, but I think this one's the best overall, in my opinion. Could be wrong. I haven't even looked at the damage numbers because I haven't bothered because this thing already smacked anyways. Let's see how we do against this guy. Let's see ya. I mean, it's just freaking, it's a lightsaber, dude. Don't forget to use the special attack on this, though. It's absolutely important. It's... Okay. Let's see, so we can commanding shout. It's gonna... First of all, it's gonna stagger him. Alright, that didn't seem to be the best way to take him out, because if you stagger him, that makes it kind of difficult. Let's try one more time. The fact that you're killing crushers like that is just so... So we'll come back here. Okay, it staggers him even all the way over there. You can two-shot a crusher if you commanding shout. Cool. It's not like that was even hard. You know, there might be 2 or 3 or 4 crushers with them too. In that event, when there are a lot of crushers, and if you're still here, I'm surprised right now we're 40 minutes into this video basically, but when you're fighting a crusher, there might be a large group of enemies in front of you. And so if you're still here, subscribe. I mean, you got to at this point. You've been here for 40 minutes. Come on. Anyways, you got a large group of crushers here in front of you. You know, you want to bait them all into grouping up. So what you'll do is you'll actually just stand here right in front of them, and you'll let them all group up in front of you, and then you will crack grenade them. Or you've crack grenaded them right before this, walking up to them. So you throw the crack and you run up to all of them, and you kind of want them all to just stagger up right here because they're all about to end your entire career. So you've crack grenaded them, or you run up here and you're crack grenading while you run up. They all stop and kind of group up into a circle to melee you. And then as long as they're within a certain amount of range, it has to be really close though, you will probably get the one shot on 2 or 3 crushers. You get a lot of value out of it that way. That works the same way. You have like mixed scab maulers and crushers. You can do the exact same thing, where you just stack them up like that and absolutely end their whole career. I think the pokey attack on this is extremely satisfying as well. Boink. Alrighty, guys. That's about all I've got to show you for you today for this build. I mean, honestly, just go out there, hit weak spots, get your damage boosts up, tag dudes. This build, absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to tag some gameplay and whatnot around in the description or above or whatever at the end cards. You know, you'll find it. Like and subscribe. Hope I see you guys in the live stream hanging around. See you later.